Hello, and thank you for joining our video, Applying for the Academic Publication Grant. We're going to provide a brief video overview of what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to introduce you to the Assyrian Studies Association, as well as introduce you to the Academic Publication Grant, provide a grant description, the eligibility requirements to apply, the research proposal that is required, as well as the funding restrictions. Lastly, we're going to provide the grant deadline and let you know about our grant notification process. Introduction to the Assyrian Studies Association. The Assyrian Studies Association is an Assyrian-focused nonprofit organization, and as such, our grant funding must be targeted to projects that will serve our Assyrian community. We function as an instrument to advance studies on the Assyrian people and our culture, on an academic level and beyond. We do this by promoting the interest in and academic study of the Assyrian heritage through supporting research, scholarly publications, collaborative projects, and providing grants. As 2020 marks the Assyrian Studies Association's one-year anniversary, we are enabling our mission by providing two types of grants. The first is the Academic Publications Grant, and the second is the Children's/Popular Book Grant. The main focus of this video is the Academic Publication Grant, so we'll go ahead and get started on the introduction. The Assyrian Studies Association invites proposals from scholars for feasible research on the project on the Assyrians, on the related topics of any field of the humanities or social sciences. And for the humanities, this refers to the classics, literature, musicology, religious education, philosophy or law subjects. And for social sciences, this relates to anthropology, archaeology, economics, human geography, linguistics, political science, sociology, or the psychology subjects. Research must be on an original topic, and funding up to $2,000 is available for researchers currently holding an academic position, which includes being a tenure track professor or a lecturer. Also includes graduate students from a master's or a doctoral program from an accredited university. The deadline is August 1st, 2020. As for the Academic Publication Grant's eligibility and requirements, to be considered for this grant, you must conduct research that promotes the Assyrian culture and/or heritage. Number 2, all subjects within the humanities and social sciences are very much welcome to apply. And lastly, you must be currently holding an academic position or currently be a graduate student from an accredited university. The requirements needed to apply is a CV, an application form, which can be found on our website, AssyrianStudiesAssociation.org/grants, a brief but detailed project budget. For graduate students, 2 letters of recommendations from a faculty member at your university. And lastly, a research proposal no longer than 10 double-spaced pages that explains your research. And I'll make sure to go into what this research proposal means in a couple slides ahead. For the research proposal, there are 3 key items we are looking for. The goal of this research proposal is to adequately explain, number 1, what you plan to accomplish, number 2, why you want to do the research, and number 3, how you are going to conduct this research. We want you to explain the research problem. Do not assume that by identifying a research problem to investigate will simply be the answer. How you can go about doing this is review related literature to help refine how you will approach examining the topic and finding a way to analyze it. The next section really talks about our format of this research proposal. For the introduction, we want you to think about your introduction as a narrative written in 2 or 4 paragraphs that answers the following 4 questions. What is the central research problem? What is the topic of study related to this research problem? What methods will you use to analyze this problem, and why is this an important research? As for the background, we want you to explain the aims of your research. State the research problem and give a more detailed explanation about the purpose of the study than what you stated in the introduction. Explain major issues or problems to be addressed by your research. Explain the methods you plan to use for conducting your research. For the literature review, we want you to simply frame your proposal's review on prior research. For the research design or the methodological section, this section must be well written and logically organized. Be very specific about the methodological approaches you plan to undertake to obtain this information. We want you to do this by specifying the research process you will undertake and the way you will interpret the results obtained in relation to the research problem. Anticipate and acknowledge any potential barriers and pitfalls you might encounter in your research. As for the last section, conclusion, We want you to reiterate the importance of your proposal and provide a brief summary of the entire study. And lastly, as for citations, we want you to include all citations in either an APA, Chicago, or MLA format. Whichever format you feel more comfortable, just make sure to stick throughout the whole research proposal. Academic publications grants funding restrictions. Successful candidates are expected to present their work at the Assyrian Studies Association's biennial symposium. Due to the novel coronavirus, the next symposium is actually underway sometime in 2021. Funds from the grant can be used for the following, but are not limited to conducting fieldwork, journal publication costs, conference presentation fees, data costs to acquire any data sets, and software required to conduct your research. Important grant deadlines and award notifications. The academic publication grant deadline is August 1st, 2020. Please submit the email application in a PDF format to alazar@assyrianstudiesassociation.org. And if you have any questions, please visit assyrianstudiesassociation.org/grants for the frequently asked questions section. As for the award notifications, after the selection committee reviews all grant applications, you will hear back no later than November 1st, 2020. For more information, please visit assyrianstudiesassociation.org/grants. Thank you.